Okay, guys, so I'm going to talk you through how we plate and then export our various files, okay, our various projects. This will be how I create a PDF, which is what I expect you to turn into me. So this is how you're going to do that step. I'm going to show you how to do this in the logo project. That's because I have multiple objects in this project that I want you to plate, but you'll use the same process to plate your door as well. We're going to go over a couple of different things. We're going to talk about viewports, which is like a snapshot of what's on your screen. We're going to talk about individual frames and drawing labels on your sheet layers, and then we'll talk about how you're going to update your title block to contain your information and have a complete drawing that then you can export as a PDF. So that's our game plan. For this project, I'd like you to plate it on 11 by 17 paper, so that will be the sheet layer that you use. So first, let's go ahead and go into our sheet layers. Let's grab this 11 by 17 template that I've given you, and I don't know what that stands for, but I'm gonna go ahead and duplicate this and rename it. So I'm gonna duplicate it, and then I'm gonna go into edit, and I'm gonna call it sheet 1, and we're gonna give it the sheet title of logo project. This content will update itself in your title block already for you. You see, isn't that cute? Isn't that lovely? And then we also want to go ahead and rearrange the stacking order of it. So I'm just opening this up a little bit. Where's the stack order? Over here. Yeah, in this numericals. Stacking order to the top, my friend, to the top. Okay, great. It looks like in 2020, we've added a little pencil that allows you to update this stuff without actually having to go in to the various windows. That is so cool and helpful. So now you could just type in where that little pencil icon is. You can just hover over it till it turns green and rename a sheet right there without having to go in to edit the sheet properties. That is super cool. You don't even know. Your life is so much better than you ever knew because you live in the future. All right, so I'm going to go back into my scenery layer by double clicking on it, and I'm going to go to View, Create Viewport. And I'm not in your workspace right now. I think I'm in mine, but in any case, it'll be under the View menu. Create Viewport. It's going to ask you to create it on a layer. It's going to give you a bunch of other stuff. So yes, the logo project is the layer that I want it on. It's going to go ahead and create a drawing label for you. That's cool. You can go ahead and change that drawing title, for example, to the Instagram or logo 1. Maybe I could call it logo 1 Instagram because that was the first Instagram. That was the first one on the assignment sheet. I'm going to leave the scale what it is, and we'll decide when we get there. And all of these other things are totally fine. So I'm going to click OK. It's going to create that viewport, and it's going to snap me over to this page. Okay. That's cool. I don't want all these logos, though. I want just the Instagram logo. And so I'm going to double click on the viewport that's on this page. I'm going to start by changing it up on the crop. So I'm going to click OK, change the crop, and draw a rectangle, that's 4, is your keyboard shortcut, around just the Instagram logo. It's going to crop out the other 2 pieces. That's cool. Click OK, right? Accept that. So then the other thing I have is this drawing label, okay? Drawing labels are, and you have to pick up an actual object in order to move it around. So drawing labels are attached to the object through the viewports. If I double click on the viewport again and I switch into the edit mode for annotations and click OK, now I can adjust the placement of the drawing label. I can also choose a text style like dimensions 12 point, which I like a little better than whatever weird style it gave me automatically for that drawing label. Okay. So nice. So nice. Okay. So that'll be my first logo. Okay. Because I'm trying to fill this page, I could go a little larger if we wanted to. Like I could probably do these 3 logos in 1/2 inch scale. And in order to change the scale, instead of going back and recreating the viewport or anything like that, I would go over here into my object info and just swap out your scale right here. And that'll let me play it a little bigger. Yeah, I think that's actually too much. So we'll keep it at 1/4 inch scale. You're going to want to adjust your scale so that it is a reasonable scale for the drafting that you're doing. I'm going to center this up on the page vertically, more or less, right? I can even snap it directly to the center, but I'm just kind of getting it roughly in the center, and I'll then align the other 2 logos along that same axis. Okay, so now there are a couple of options for me if I want to go ahead and do the second logo, right? I can either go back to my design layer, follow the same steps again. So let's do it that way first. So create viewport. Okay, 2 is the drawing number. The drawing title is going to be logo 2, diamond shape. It's also going on logo project. All of these things are cool. Okay, it's going to create, again, that whole viewport. And then I'm going to go in, again, crop it to the thing that I want. Just this guy. Click OK to accept that. Double click on it again. Adjust my placement of my annotation, which is my drawing label, to be closer up underneath it, so it's kind of aligned and centered, and then put it into dimensions, text style. Okay, and now I can line up kind of the center of this logo with the center of that logo, right? It's a little low, just so that they're lined up neatly on the page. And I would then adjust my annotations so that my drawing labels also line up. And that'll be kind of a tweaky thing between this one, right? So I'm coming over here and snapping to that Instagram and then pulling it across. This feels a little too tight, so I'm going to pull this down, and I'll line up that logo with this one. Okay, so in general, I'm just trying to keep everything as much as possible aligned visually so that it looks like I did this all intentionally. All right, my next step is to do my third one. I'm going to show you the other way, which is instead of going back into the scenic design layer, creating a new viewport, I can just duplicate this existing viewport. Control Command D, and I can adjust it now by changing its crop and changing the labeling. So I'm going to start by changing the crop, and I'll just drag the crop down here to pick up my third logo. Great, and accept that. Okay, and then I'll change my annotations. Move this guy below the logo, this drawing label. I'm also, great, text style is already dimensioned, so I don't have to change that, but I do want to change it to call it logo 3, which is overlapping circles or something. Great. Okay. And then I click OK. Pull that up here. Computer's starting to slow down, starting to feel the burn. Let's kind of nudge these over, make some space. Yeah, that's pretty good. I'm going to just move my third drawing label down a little bit. Right, I can line it up with this one next to it, even though I got a little excited and went flying over there. So now the 3 drawing labels are all basically aligned. And I can exit my viewport annotations. I might nudge this over. So nudging is shift arrows. So I can nudge that over a little bit just to kind of space them out a little bit more evenly. But that is a pretty good plate. Okay, so now I've got my 3 viewports. Awesome, fabulous. I'm going to go ahead and edit my title block now. So I'm going to double click on the title block, and it's going to say settings, project data, right? Sure. I want to go into the title block manager. Okay, you can have it do different things when I double click, but I want to just choose title block manager for now. Do I want to load? I want to load the active file only. And that is fine. And it's going to think about that now, isn't it? Do it. You can do it. It's thinking about it. It's thinking about whether it wants to be nice to me. So I can show you how to do the thing. There it is. Okay. So this is your title block manager. So your title block manager basically contains all of the information for your title block. It will repeat information on the project data panel on every page of your project, and it will repeat your sheet data panel on the individual sheets that you edit, okay? So it's converted, so right here you have multiple sheets are marked for the application. You can choose and edit individual sheets at a time. We're gonna do project data because this is our first thing. So the play title is, I don't know, this is 2D, let's call it 2D drafting. Yeah, that's okay. So let's call it 2D drafting because it's not even it's not about a play, but that's okay. 2D drafting, okay? There's no venue in this case. The designer, that's going to be your name, so I'm going to type in my name. Project date, project ID, project address. These are just things I can't change. Sheet data. All right, so first thing I'm going to do over here is refresh the plot date. The plot date format is auto short, which is great. And so if I refresh it, it will automatically update it to today's date. The sheet scale is your predominant scale for this sheet. In my case, it's 1/4 inch scale. These other things I'm not going to worry about, okay? It actually seems to be offering a scale as part of its standard settings now, which is great, but I haven't reset things to that. So let me do some research on title block stuff in 2020, because this is a little different than what it's been before, and we might have some better options than we've had before. So let's just say okay and see what it looks like on your title block, okay? It should now update all of that stuff onto your title block. That's great. If you want to put my name in the director or technical director field, that's cool. Otherwise, whatever. This is just an initial practice project. So your name will be under designer. These two will be filled in, and then this bottom section should be filled in. So once I've done that, and I know that I'm on this 11x17 plate with this lovely title block, I'm going to go ahead and export this file as a PDF. There are a lot of different export options, okay? I've minimized this list for you in your workspace. Let me just go into your workspace to show you what that looks like, because I'm in the like massive Spotlight workspace right now. It's going to take a second to reload my tools. The export options that I use the most are going to be exporting to a PDF when I just have one sheet of drafting and I don't need to do a whole package. I'll export to a PDF. I will also frequently export a CAD file for someone who uses AutoCAD for drafting, and I'll frequently export something like a Photoshop file if I'm using a specific plate from my drafting to create like a paint elevation. Then I'll export an image file or like a Photoshop file. Okay, so we are now in your workspace, which will have simplified export options. So it's simplified, she says, even though there's still a whole bunch of stuff that you don't understand. What we want to do is export this PDF, okay? And it's going to do this whole thing, and I just let it do all of those things, and I say export, and it will now create an 11x17 PDF. We're going to make sure that this says your name at the beginning so that I can find it when you give it to me, and we're going to put it someplace where you can find it on your, so I'll just pop it up here into my 2D projects folder and click save. Once it saves it, it's going to open it in a PDF viewer, which is kind of like the verification that it's actually happening. So it's going to open Adobe now to show me that it really did make this file, okay? So that right there is the logo project. And that's what I'd like you to submit to that final project or export or something like that. Ooh, excuse me, plate for that. So that's that one. And then I'd like you to also do your door project the same way. I'm not going to have you do any annotations on it, any dimensions. We'll do dimensions when we do the desk project. But for this one, you should be good. Just plate your door onto one of the plates templates that I've given you and export that as a PDF to turn it in to me. So that's all for now, and I'll get started on this desk project with you soon. Thanks!